Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, champions of the realm. My name is Vox, and we are bringing you today the fourth and final week, the final day of the qualifying tournament for DreamHack Founders in Sweden. This is, of course, Paladins, and this is your North American region. Today, I am joined by my co-caster, Rain Day, and of course, the admins from Paladins World, who will be your admins and cameraman for today, Only Light and Phasian. So we're going to go through and break down the brackets for you. We do have 8 teams coming through again, so it is a double elimination format. Rain, who have we got today?
Well, today, thank you, Vox, for the introduction. It's going to be an exciting one, guys. Today, we've got Ronin versus Identity Crisis in the first part of the left-hand side of the bracket. We've also got Voltage Gaming versus Rex Gaming to see who's going to play each other in that in round 2. Following on the other side of the bracket, we've got Zenith Black playing against Identity Crisis Color Gray versus, in the other game there, Identity Crisis Black and Enhanced Gaming Esports. So we've got actually 3 Identity Crisis teams here representing in this final round of NA. They know this is the last opportunity to get themselves into Week 5 to have a chance to compete, to go to DreamHack, and that ticket to Sweden for a chance at $100,000 in this Founders Tournament. So seems like they're pulling out all the big guns to try and get themselves a spot in the finals.
Now, none of these are, should we say, new teams. They're all established teams, and they've just changed around names by the looks of things. We do have a player list coming up in front of us. But, Rain, have you got any favorites for today, any crowd favorites? Because for me, it's got to be Ronin and Zen, which we're looking to for the finals. But I'm not sure about some of these underdogs. And, of course, we've got to remember that Ronin has had a pretty big roster change coming through this week as well.
Yeah, and well, one of the things I absolutely love about double elimination, when I run some of my tournaments for Smite, I actually use the double elimination format because it actually creates this kind of underdog story. And the cool thing about it is that when a team wins, which we expect Ronin or Zenith Black to be one of the finalists in the winner's bracket because of how well they performed, how close they were in basically getting out of last week as well. It gives the opportunity for the person in the losers round who makes it all the way through to have some momentum. So there are a lot of teams, a lot of established teams that we've seen kind of change forms. You never know what might click today. But of course, yeah, Ronin and Zenith Black, you're going to have to look for them being a part of the finals. Who's going to come out from the losers? Who knows? That'll be an interesting one.
So just to preface as well, with the CB26 patch that we've just had coming through, I'm sure all of you have had the chance so far to get a little bit of playtesting in there. There are some expected spectator mode bugs. So I'm just going to run through those. So if you see them on stream, you won't get taken by surprise. So first of all, and this is good news for you, the scoreboard, or rather the scores at the top of the screen now accurately reflect which team we're looking at. The first and foremost major bug which you may encounter on the stream is that sometimes the weapon model of the player we're spectating might disappear. If you do see that, don't worry. It's not something that happens in game. It's just related to this alpha spectator mode, which we're very, very grateful for Hi-Rez really pushing forwards to help us better sort of broadcast these tournaments. And second up there, the game will occasionally go into stasis mode, where the spectator file just can't load quite fast enough. During that time, we'll either enter a pause and we'll have some downtime, but we'll have the opportunity to discuss the game as it's going on and maybe make some predictions, maybe talk about some of the builds which are coming through, which is always nice to do. Or if it looks like it's going to be longer, we'll go to a longer pause, and as soon as we have an update on what's going on, we'll get back to you in chat. But that's all from us for now. We'll be back with Game 1, which is going to be Voltage Gaming versus Rex Gaming after this short break.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, champions of the realm. My name is Rainday, and today we are finally getting started with this excellent game here, the second round, actually, of the Paladins NA qualifiers for Week 4. We are very excited to be starting this game. Whatever's happened in the past has happened, and now we are here, so sit back, relax, and enjoy as I introduce to you the teams that'll be playing. On the left-hand side, you'll see Zenith Black with McMahon2508 running Barrack, wizdude running Ruckus, Graham, as they say in England, running Androxus, Reviling onto the Pip, and SnakeySnake onto the Eevee, with KanSenpai on the side of, oh my god, Identity Crisis Black onto Grok, Kemi on Androxus, Chisus on Ruckus, Impacalpyse onto the Barrack, and Trillion onto Pip.
And my name is Vox, and we're seeing an interesting team fight composition coming out of here of one particular team. Now, we didn't see a lot of Grok play. We saw one game of Grok actually coming through in yesterday's tournament in EU, but we're definitely seeing one come through today. So let's see if that shield starts to pay off, but point control initially looks to be going to this side of Zenith Black. So I'm pretty confident in saying it hasn't worked out so far. And if we can hit tab for just a moment and look at the scores as the respawns from Icy Black are going to start to come through, you can see 3 Wrecker picks up on the side of Zenith Black. That is 100% additional damage dealt to shields on the side of the Pip, the Eevee, and the Barrack on the side of Zenith Black. That's a lot of damage there, especially with those Eevee direct hits.
Yeah, and it's huge. It's huge now that Wrecker is pretty much got a buff because it lasts pretty much all the round. And all of these cards now, if you're new to NA and the scene, the changes in CB26, making all of the burn cards last every, pretty much the entire round. They're not going to get burned after death, essentially. And so it's really important now that you could really pick a full game counter specific characters who have shields, and including the newest character to be given a shield, Grok. What's up with that, Fox?
So Grok's healing totem exhibited, or rather now exhibits, a different change to what it had before. Previously, you place it down, it'd heal all allies within its radius. Now it drops Barrack's old dome shield over the top. So Barrack, also no longer having that dome shield ultimate, now has a 5-second duration mega turret instead. But this means that Grok, whilst he can still act as a healer, with the card Healing Rain still being in the game, now providing a plus, I think it's +2 to +6% of your maximum health per second heal tick whilst you're within that dome shield. He can also act as more of a defender or a protector, as his reclassification has been. So we're starting to see Grok come in as potentially a flex pick instead of Barrack, although you can see there's a Barrack and a Grok on both teams. That barricade and especially that mega turret ultimate, a little bit too valuable to give up currently. Now the payload is currently being pushed all the way down by Zen right now. Tell me, Rain, what kind of defense do you want to see mounted here in order to stop this from being converted initially?
Well, this is the super choke point, I would say. If they have an opportunity to defend, it would be right here. Just win this initial battle and then push them back. You got to get them underneath the bridge. That is a great vantage point, but it looks like there's no time to take on strategies, no time to adjust the game plan. That's just 4 quick points in the pocket of Zenith Black. As we head to this next capture point, let's take a look at the burn cards everybody is picking up. Now, of course, this lasts all round, not every game. So I think I might have mentioned that it lasts the entire game. It lasts every round, so you'll be able to buy different things. But you see a lot of wreckers coming out on the side of Zenith Black, and on the side of Identity Crisis Black, a lot of people are really prioritizing getting resilience. Now, what is resilience, Fox, and how is that, you think, playing into their strategy here?
So Resilience is a defensive burn card. By taking this, you're unable to take something like Blast Shields or Haven, but it reduces the duration of all crowd control effects by 100%, which means that actually if you're hit by something like Eevee's Freeze, it just won't tick on you. It's completely ineffective. The only crowd control, which will still apply even though you have Resilience, is Pip's Chicken, his Evil Mojo ultimate, which does polymorph you into a chicken, and that will only last for 1 second in duration instead of 4. But initially as well, oh, I can hear a Hexafire going. Chisus looking to answer back to the early point control from Zenith Black, but he fires it straight into a wall, only picking up 1 kill from that ultimate. And now Chisus picks up a 2nd kill. He's looking for more. Is he going to find the 3rd? Doesn't look like he's going to find the 3rd there, although the Eevee Blink does come through, and point control going to Zenith Black still right now, despite a couple of kills being answered back by Icy Black.
Yeah, really good point control, and now we've got some barrack action going on near the point. 2 of them just shooting at each other through their own barricades. No one's getting any damage off, but it looks like the barrack on the point is forced off by the Grok as an enemy double kill by KanSenpai comes out, taking out McMahon and Graham as well, and the point goes now in favor to Identity Crisis Black for the moment. Zenith Black trying to get themselves back in on this, and the Pip just waiting for his teammates. He's just kind of like, let me pop a little bit, but I don't want to do something too fully committal until I get some squad support. And now Ruckus comes in and SnakeySnake as well, and it looks like they're trying to re-aggress onto this point, pushing him off with a nice freeze, forcing the engagement here. Reviling goes down. Cammy gets the double kill onto Reviling, and the objective is captured. However, for Identity Crisis, it was all too late, and it looks like now the spawn camping has begun.
Exactly. So even though the payload and those 2 points have been taken by Icy Black, right now Zenith are looking to really spawn camp the side of Icy Black into their base. They don't want this payload to go through, and if Zenith do successfully defend, they will get an extra point of their own, raising their score to 5 versus 2 right now. So if they can trap them in the spawn, it's great. But Zenith Black push very far up. They're in a very aggressive position here, and this could potentially put them on the back foot, because if the kills start coming through and the respawns start getting staggered for Zen, although it's not actually happening currently, they could find that the payload gets pushed very close to their base very quickly and no way to effectively defend it.
Exactly, and that's the key. They're betting that they can get the staggered respawns for the offensive team versus losing their teammates in a kind of a staggered wipe and then really hurt their defense and basically let the payload push for free very close to their base. So they're basically killing one after another after another. Their respawn times out of camp are not on point with each other, and basically are just getting taken out. So this camp spawning working really well in the favor of Zenith Black. Although they lost the point, it's looking really good for a strong defense right now.
And I'm going to partially attribute that to the 4-man Wrecker pickup we're seeing on the side of Zenith Black, able to take down those shields on the side of Icy Black very quickly and very easily. So there's less defense, there's less protection, and that Grok pick really becomes a walking ultimate. You got to remember that Grok had a couple of cards removed from him, or really the main card which we saw removed was Invigorate, which increased your attack speed by, I think it was up to 15%, if I'm not mistaken. Which meant that Grok actually started to become more of a carry pick. As well as that, we've seen his range reduced of his lightning staff, and as a result, Grok now he drops a dome shield and he's got that Tempest ultimate still, but that's really it. The kills are starting to come back in favor of Zenith Black, of Icy Black, sorry, but Zenith answer back in spades. There's a kick chicken that does come out for Icy Black, and they're looking to make a little bit of a push now. There's only 30 seconds on the clock. They've got a long way to go.
Yeah, that was already a fantastic defense, but you know what? You got to finish strong. Even though you started, it really matters how you finish that across that line. And looks like Zenith Black are now forced to be defending in a little bit more of these choke points that we've seen a lot of teams have success on. It does not look good for Team Identity Crisis Black, though they do get the point. There's only 8 seconds, 7 now, and they've really got to make this work. It looks like wizdude is coming back in, and SnakeySnake throws the Ice Freeze Storm out there and really doing her work, but it looks like she's blinked out and trying to get away now, almost dead. wizdude picks up 2 kills, actually 3 kills. McMahon takes down Impacalpyse, and it looks like this is going to be a successful defense if they can keep this up. And it looks like, yep, there's nobody on Identity Crisis Black is going to be able to survive this. Pretty, I would say, Vox, that was a pretty, like, clinical defense that we just saw come out from Zenith Black. Looking very good.
Not perfect, as they did get broken at some point, but they were able to come back with respawns, and it's very, very hard to hold a continuous spawn camp at a competitive level of play, because the respawns coming through from the attacking team are so fast, they're in such close proximity to the payload spawn point, that you're eventually going to get worn down. So Zen doing a fantastic job of holding Icy Black in their base, but if Icy can actually continue their capture point control, they do have a chance to come back into this game and could win just off that. It all depends on how these next few points go. Capture point has spawned mines on the left-hand side of your mini-map currently, and let's just take a quick look at Burncast before we go in there. For Wreckers, picked up once again a couple of Master Ridings, a couple of Nimbles coming through, which I really like, especially on these Ruckus pickups. Works currently very well with the No Chill 4 card. We're seeing a lot of Ruckus pick up, increasing, or rather letting you retain 80% of your original movement speed whilst dual firing, which would otherwise slow you down.
Going to be huge for him as the Grok ultimate does come out from KanSenpai, taking down McMahon. wizdude firing away at the Androxus, but a reversal comes out, mitigating a lot of that damage. wizdude now being focused back on by the other team's Ruckus, looking to basically push them away from this camp as they've got a little bit of point pressure themselves. It's looking really good right now for this team that's basically being able to just capture this point without any aggression coming out. They're taking the fight to the front and basically easily getting that capture. It's now 5-4 Identity Crisis, 2 capture points in a row, looking very strong in these initial capture point pressures. I'm liking this. What is Identity Crisis changing, Vox, that worked so well from the first couple of points?
Well, for starters, we're seeing those resilience pickups. Actually, I think they're being negated now as SnakeySnake has switched over to standstill, but perhaps without the freezes able to come back and hit all the players of Identity Crisis, there's a little bit less of an impact coming out from this Eve. You got to remember that she does still have a Wrecker on board, does SnakeySnake, which means you're going to be doing about 1,000 or 1,100 damage per hit to all of these shields when you land a direct hit. But I don't know, Icy, they just got better positioning this time. They're understanding a little bit more about the point capture and where they need to stand and how they should also zone out enemies on respawn, and that's really what most of this is about. When you get control of that capture point, the real fight actually doesn't happen on the capture point. It happens around it. It happens close to your enemy's bases. You want them to really just, you want to keep them away from that capture point. You don't want to let them get close. You don't want to have an even playing field for anybody. So long range poke, chipping them down piece by piece works out really well. Going to see in a second here, Graham's going to pop the Accursed Arm ultimate, does actually manage to pick up one person. Cammy's going to pick up another person as well with their own ultimate, but the defense is coming through pretty well. Payload's just about reaching clifftop choke point.
Yeah, Zenith Black doing a pretty good job of defending. I mean, this is definitely not the defense we saw them hold off earlier where they really can't spawn camp. This has moved quite farther in quite considerably less amount of time for Identity Crisis. And so now they've really taken this fight to the kind of one of the last major choke points here before it gets under the bridge. And now this is really going to determine whether we can push this in. I'm seeing a lot of aggression from the upper side of the balconies here, looking down, trying to basically get the high ground advantage, trying to make sure that they have the opportunity to go ahead and look down and shoot, use the damage from the pip to splash down in the area as the Eevee ultimate comes out from SnakeySnake, but she gets eliminated by Cammy. And you know what? I gotta say, is Life Rip making an effect here? Is the life steal that we're not usually used to seeing in terms of the burn guards, is that helping Chisus stay alive here? They're both on streaks, and they're not going down easily.
Well, you can see Life Rip if we manage to take a quick look at the scoreboard real quick. It's that green card with those, oh, hold that thought, as a Hexfire is popped on the upper reach. Is not actually going to pick up a kill there. wizdude being taken out by Cammy instead. But yeah, Life Rip now providing 25% life steal on all of your weapon attacks. And on high damage champions, it really can provide quite a significant boost, especially we're seeing it picked up a lot on Ruckus. And I really like this pickup because you do have that emitter shield on Ruckus. So you can alternate between losing a bit of health, popping shield, and really starting to earn that back with Life Rip. Defense does go through successfully, however. Icy Black don't manage to get that conversion, and the points are 6-4 in favor of Zen currently. What do you want to see on this next capture point, perhaps, Rain?
Well, I think Zen need to basically take control of the lead that they've got now. They've got a 200 credit lead, right? So, pretty much, and that's what you get defending. It used to be 400, and they've dropped it down to 200 with CB26. I want to see them take advantage of the potential burn card lead which they have, and although pretty much everyone's even at 3, so now they don't even have that because they've let IC do such a good job. I want to see more control-oriented point fights. They're really looking to win this initial point aggression and then be able to push out. We've seen them kind of lose the initial point and be caught, kind of getting caught trying to get back and regroup, and Identity Crisis has done a great job of meeting them out in the hallways and making sure they can't get back to the point. I want to see them win this first point, and I think they're going to be doing a much better job of this, although KanSenpai and Impacalpyse saying no, 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 Big Man and Graham going down right away. This is not Zenith Black's point control right now.
It certainly isn't. With this point going in favor currently of Icy Black, they're looking like they're going to even up the points 6-6 overall and start to really even the playing field for this game, potentially taking a win out of it. And what I liked happening, what I like to see coming out from Icy Black right there is that they knew an ambush was coming. There was only one player, the Barrack, up on the top level platforms around this waterfall point. So they waited and they got a good counter ambush coming through. And now, as we're going to see a Hexafire in just a second, popped by the Ruckus Chisus on the side of Icy Black, they're actually going to capture the point for the third capture point in a row, evening up those points to 6-6.
Now, when your whole team has Nimble, right? When your whole team has Nimble, essentially, except Barrack, you've got quite an advantage on the enemy team unless they've all got Nimble as well. We're seeing this card getting picked up so much now. It's 4 on each team. I'm a little surprised at that because I think we used to see it on characters who needed the extra movement speed, like Fernando in the back line, trying to get to their targets quicker, make sure that they weren't as exposed and get their damage off. But now we're seeing it on all, like 8 out of the 10 members in each of these teams. That's pretty strong. What happened? Why did this card suddenly become so valuable to these team comps?
Well, no real changes, but it's just the difference between previous burn cards and the burn cards in closed beta patch 26, because they now aren't lost on death. Cards like Nimble, which you see people taking really defensive burn cards, because the longer you can stay alive, the more damage you can do, but also if you don't die, you get to keep your burn cards. Now that's not so much of a risk. We're seeing players take more utility or take more damage-oriented burn cards. That's why we're seeing the Wreckers come out. That's why we're seeing the Nimbles and the Life Rips come out, whereas previously it would have been, hey, let's take Blast Shields and develop and just keep ourselves alive. They're going, no, you know what? I can fight this. I can be aggressive. I can start to heal back from all this damage I'm doing to you. But the defense currently is holding. Icy Black once again suffering a little bit on this payload push. Or rather, this is more a testament to how well Zenith are able to defend. Payload has pushed through the clifftop choke point, but how are Icy Black going to really break this defensive hold?
Yeah, Icy Black needs to group up, and I think that a strong flank would be impressive here. I'd love to see them kind of get around, take Graham out as they do, which is very good. Zenith Black now a one-man down, and it looks like Icy Black is trying to turn the momentum with that man advantage, and they do. They take down Reviling as well. wizdude, however, fires back with Chisus. Exavire coming out by wizdude, hitting most of the payload, though, but he does take down Impacalpyse, and that's still going to be a hold unless Trillian does get the kill on the wizdude as well. They're pushing. Graham's the only one defending on Zenith Black before his man McMahon can come on back, but it looks like it's just a 2v2, and Droxus is back into the fight. They need to get this push. This would be huge for Identity Crisis to push this and because they've just been getting all the capture points, not been able to convert, this could pretty much seal the deal next round, but it's going to be up to Zenith Black to put on a stronghold, and so far, looking so good for Zenith Black here.
Oh, but look at the respawns. A Mega Turret just was popped on the side of Zenith Black. wizdude picking up another double kill. He's been getting so many multi-kills this game so far. It's been really impressive. But Zenith Black just had the respawn proximity. They were able to get back to the payload in time, group up, whereas we saw the last 2 members holding that payload there on the side of Identity Crisis full. 3 members return, but all of a sudden they're fighting a 3v5 and it's just not going in their favor. So Zen will take a capture point, or rather a point from that successful defense, now leading 7-6. Zenith Black, if they capture this point, will actually take the first game here. Whereas Identity Crisis need to capture and convert in order to take the game off this single point, or capture 2 capture points in a row. But with the control they've been exhibiting, I don't think that's out of the question right now.
Well, you know, I think right now I would say it's an advantage of Identity Crisis because, you know, they win this capture point, which they've been doing pretty convincingly. They get 8. All of a sudden, Zenith Black holds again. They get 8. But then Identity Crisis has the advantage the next round. So pretty much they just need to continue doing what they're doing. Even though they're not really combating in terms of the entire game, they're winning the most important team fights. And wow, what an ultimate there coming out from Rock.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of damage. KanSenpai only picking up 1 kill from that, but does manage to open up the playing field a little bit. But forced to ghost walk away. He picks up another kill for himself, but the kills, and this time going in favor of Zenith Black. Zenith Black have definitely changed something up. wizdude with another double kill off the back of that engagement, and it looks like they're set to take this capture point. You can see a couple of members going off to zone. SnakeySnake, surprisingly, as the EV staying on this capture point, but you can see when you've got Pip and you've got Ruckus left, you want those mobile and AoE damage champions to kind of push out and look to zone. There is a chance, however, for Icy Black to make it back from the capture point. The respawns have come through, but they're being head off the pass, and it's difficult. They're getting a flank through. If they have a Hexafire available, it could be huge right now, and they do take initial control of the capture point again. There's a chicken coming through. The damage is good. They've started to take it back, but a freeze from SnakeySnake comes through. Freezes down Cammy, who has picked up a previous kill. There's the Hexafire, but it's on the side of Zenith Black, and the kills are going either way, but this time in favor of Icy again. They pull off the comeback.
Yeah, when Pip went down, that was their problem. And they forced SnakeySnake's ultimate, not her ultimate, her Arctic Freeze out. Icy Black is just doing such a good job as a group on these point controls. Even if they lose the initial point, they're coming back as a team. They're using Grok's Totem. People saying Grok's Totem is relatively ineffective now. Well, he just used it fantastically to avoid all of Pip's burst damage, while Ruckus could freely fire on him from within that totem and take him out, one of the big point pressure characters that they had. And therefore, when he went down, Evie forced to freeze. She was just basically all defensive utility options out of the ballpark, forced to get out of there, and now point control goes back to IC, and they ended up capturing it. Really good play by them to come back and secure that point.
Now, wizdude with another double kill there. Good grief. The multi-kills just don't stop for this Ruckus play on the side of Zenith Black, but the payload has reached the clifftop choke point, and it is being stalled out very, very well here. wizdude with a delayed triple kill there. Looking for the quadrant? No. Taken out by Cammy on the backside, but now the payload has been stalled out. The respawns need to start coming through from the side of Icy Black, and once again, I wouldn't be surprised to see this payload defended. The only way I can see it being pushed through is through the good and coordinated use of ultimates on the side of Icy Black, but using those would put them definitely at a disadvantage for the next capture point. And you know, if I was on the side of IC, I'd be saying, you know, push the payload, let's earn some burn cards, let's charge up all these ults, but let's not waste any of them here, because we really want to save those. We've been so dominant in point control, but that's where they want to fight.
I mean, they got enough credit. They will have enough credits to have 3 burn cards. We will assume next round. So pretty much, if I'm IC Black, I'm saying, listen, let's try to get this, but let's not put all of our eggs in this basket, because we know that we are winning all of these capture objectives. Even if we lose the initial fight, we are winning. We have a better, basically strategic game. They have a better brawl game. Zenith Black is way better at defending, brawling. It seems like they've just not been able to push as a unit the same way they've been able to take control of these capture objectives. And so I would just wait. I mean, honestly, as a competitive guy, I'd just be like, this is where our strength is. Let's not give them any advantages here. Let's just win this next capture point, which we have been doing, and we'll be good. We'll be all money.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a nail biter, though. Is going to see that if the defense is successful and the payload actually being pushed away from its original spawn point now, having passed that crux point on the clifftop choke point, then retreating as the respawns didn't come through in time from IC Black, it's going to be difficult to start pushing through, but this will equalize on a successful defense. The points 8-8, a real nail biter, as close as it can get in a competitive and a custom game like this. So you've got a lot on the line for both teams here. Next, this win, or rather the next capture point, will absolutely decide decide the outcome of this game. Then we'll be, of course, heading into Temple Ruins, which, you know, if you're Icy Black or if you're Zenith Black and you're not comfortable on the upcoming map, since we do have a map rotation now in place, then securing this first win might be really important for your momentum and your morale.
Oh, for anybody in any set of one or more games, right? You're going to need to secure the momentum to really, I think, carry that into the second or third game and have an edge over your opponents when there really may not be an edge in just starting on a new map, or maybe it's not a map you feel as comfortable with. Having that victory in your back pocket can make you feel just a lot more relaxed and comfortable and over the other team as well as this point begins to spawn. This is what it all comes down to here, Vox. What do you need to see Zenith Black do instead of IC to get this point?
Well, Zenith Black, they've gone for the flank several times, they've split themselves up, and it's failed time and time again right now. Once again, they've been spotted out on the backside. I need to see good ultimate coordination coming through. I want to see these flanks pay off well. And initially, Cammy picking up a kill at the start there. Ooh, Mega Turret popped by, it looks like it's been popped by Impacalpyse there on the side of Icy Black. That's going to push a lot of people out round cover as that now spawns a 5-second Mega Turret that does fire heat-seeking missiles. But Zenith Black picking up a couple of kills on their side, starting to turn the fight in their favor. But we've said this before, the comeback potential is there on the side of Icy Black.
Yes, now here's where this may hurt them. Only 2 of them have Master Riding, so they're not going to be able to get to this point at the same time or as fast as their entire group would want. So now Ruckus and Barrack slowly moving in, but they get frozen by SnakeySnake. Really nice pickup there by Snake, blinking out, and it looks like Androxus and Cammy are going to have to do the work here. A nice ultimate coming out to Space Graham, and McMahon coming on the way from KanSenpai, getting a kill right there for himself, and now point control is back for IC. It looks like McMahon has all he's left to do there, just standing behind his barricade, trying to shoot, but his shield is going down. The Hexafire comes out from Ruckus. Chisus on the side, and again, Identity Crisis are about to take game 1 with a second attempt at capturing the point, and it goes their way. Go ahead, Identity Crisis, do your thing. That was pitch perfect. I mean, talk about a secondary attempt, right? It just,
I mean, talk about first, comeback kings.
Yeah, at first it doesn't go well. You know, try again. Vox, I mean, let's look at these stats. Let's see, what was the big key for this game that you're witnessing here? Was we got a much better, more detailed scoreboard as we've been adjusted in CB26. What are you seeing that stands out? Great win by Identity Crisis. What happened there?
I mean, it's got to be the shielding stat right here. We're seeing 160,000 just shielded on the side of Impacalpyse right there. That's really, really impressive. Comparatively, Mike Man 2508, the Barrack on the side of Zenith Black, only shielding 109,000 damage. And whilst, yes, the Grok shield does come into play with 50k shielding there, I mean, that's just such an impressive stat by itself. Despite having 19 deaths, Impacalpyse able to shield their team from so much of that outgoing pressure on the side of Zenith Black that it helped them retain better control of those capture points. Less useful on the payload push as your barricade isn't movable. You place it down, you got to push your payload through, then all of a sudden when the payload's past your barricade, you're at risk again. So we can see where those deaths might have come from, but at the same time, very, very useful on the capture point. But for me, it's all about KanSenpai. That last Tempest, Rain, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, it was beautifully timed. See, that's the difference between the Groks that are, okay, you know, I'm playing Grok, right? Versus the Grok that KanSenpai is playing. Because when you use that when you see that ultimate up, it's so tempting. It's so tempting. There's like 5 players on the point. You're like, yes, let me use it. Let me get this ultimate off. I'm gonna kill everybody. Pentakill, right? I'll get the highlight reel. I'll be famous. I'll be Twitch famous. But then all of a sudden, they all pop their shields. Evie goes into her ice block, and they know they're ready. When you can save that Tempest for when teams are desperate, when they use everything and then they've got nothing left, they just are trying to stand on that point. That's when KanSenpai shows his stature as a player and pops the Tempest when really there are no options left and they have to either die or get off the point. And that's what I love to see about KanSenpai. Really turned the fight, really spaced it well, even though it's been reduced in damage, still does a ton, and really turned the tide of that match, forcing Barrack off the point, forcing him to barricade down towards the lower hallway, down the steps. And I think really just was an immaculate play for a very good player and a very good team, looking very strong going into the second game of the set.
Interesting. Any last coming out from Red? Yeah. Nothing particularly on my end. I don't think the EV pick worked out as well as it could have done on side of SnakeySnakes, as there was that resilience pickup and those burn cards really doing work. Did see a couple of successful freezes come through, and whilst the slash line is 18 to 8 kills to deaths, which is really, really impressive. It just didn't have the impact that I was looking for. That being said, Graham not doing a ton of damage on that Androxus pick compared to Cammy's there. So maybe a little bit of a swap around, but next map is Temple Ruins, Rain, and we've seen a lot of different picks coming out on Temple Ruins. We've seen Fernando being favored on this for the payload stalls and the point control. We've seen Canessa being picked up, and actually we saw a Sky pick up. The first time in this particular tournament, I think, or at least the games that we've seen, we saw a Sky pick up, and I know we're definitely excited to see more of that. So perhaps that's coming your way, but we'll be back after this short break in just a few moments with Game 2 of Zenith Black versus Icy Black on Temple Ruins.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, champions of the realm. My name is Rainday here, joined with my co-commentator Vox, as we're taking you through Game 2 of the Champions NA Qualifiers here. Second round versus Zenith Black and Identity Crisis Black. On the left-hand side, you'll have Identity Crisis Black, Icy Black, KanSenpai running the Grok, Impacalpyse onto the Barrack, Chisus onto the Ruckus, Cammy onto the Androxus, and Trillion onto the Pip, while we have McMahon onto the Barrack, wizdude onto the Ruckus, Graham onto the Androxus, SnakeySnake on the Eevee, and Reviling onto the Pip on the side of Zenith Black. This is a salty run back, Vox.
This is a salty run back, but look at the burn cards real quick. We've got forced pickups of resilience on the side of Icy Black. SnakeySnake running stand still. May have baited those out very well with the EV pick there. So that's effectively 4 wasted burn cards, but it doesn't seem like it's going to matter, or does it? As Graham picks up the first kill, as we're contesting this midpoint right now, giving a slight advantage to Zenith Black. Got to remember that the colors have been shifted between this game and the last game. This time the boys in blue are Icy Black, of course, on the left-hand side of the screen, but capture starting to go to Zen.
Yeah, Zen doing a really good job of holding it off, and IC trying to get themselves onto this point. I mean, that's where they usually shine. Let's see if they can come back as a unit and go ahead and take it. 5 members up on top, and it's looking like they're going to make their move in just a moment. Ruckus popping his emitter now as the other enemy Ruckus does the same thing. KanSenpai and Trillion get kills, although Reviling takes down Impacalpyse, but Trillion gets another kill onto Reviling, and it looks like, again, KanSenpai actually and squad are able to retain this point pressure. Now it's going in the hands of Identity Crisis Black. KanSenpai Black make some changes here, Vox, because we saw this exactly happen last game.
Well, it's going to start with a good little run back there. Graham getting the initial kill, going back with the retake right now. Goes up into the air, looks to fire some shots over the barricade, but they need to get on the point very soon. It's almost even. It's 87 points in favor of IC to 73, but there comes a chicken through on the side of Zenith Black, and they pick up a couple of kills there. They pick up 3 kills in their favor, and that's going to be the point there, as there's no way that IC Black can actually make it back on. There's too much damage coming out. So payload capture, the initial payload capture, going the same way as that last game on Glacier Keep, in fact, to Zenith Black. A little bit of a workaround from or a switch up from last game, where IC was so dominant on this point control.
Yeah, actually, you know what? This is exactly how the game started, like you were saying last time.
Right.
I mean, they pretty much, Zenith Black won the first round, and then they pushed it, and they were 4-0 up. So they just couldn't keep it together for the later rounds. We'll see if that starts to happen now, as KanSenpai getting a kill onto McMahon as they're trying a nice hold here. Trillion, Impacalpyse, and Chisus all behind this barricade there. Dropped by McMahon, and now Mike Man, excuse me. And it looks like the Androx is finally finding a little bit of room to go ahead and pop a reversal into the corner, but still not pushing this payload. It's a really
Graham with a
good hold
panda
right now.
kill. Graham goes up into the air, pops the cursor down, manages to net a panda kill with all of that splash AoE damage. That is huge. That's a full team wipe right there, and that'll open up the payload to be able to push through this little choke point coming up to the enemy base. What a play. Manages to go right up and fire over the barricade, fire over all the shields. I've never seen anything like that before in competitive play. We've seen double kills, we've seen triple kills and quadra kills, and Graham picks up another kill for a delayed hexa kill.
Oh my goodness, Graham going crazy here with the amount of plays he's pulling off, and it is just amazing to see how he set them up for that. They were pushing, they were holding behind that barricade, that little choke point, and they were all grouped up, all in a bundle, and Graham said, hey, you know what, let me just pop this accursed arm real quick and take all of you out. Unbelievable play by Graham. He's got to pull one of those off again, though, however, if they're going to get past this very strong hold that's looking like it's a strong point. Now, obviously, look, we're almost at the base. What's up with this map? This map was a little different, Vox.
So this map was changed between CB25 and CB26 with the introduction of it into the competitive circuit. You can see on the minimap right now that the points are still spaced evenly apart between from point to point, but the bases have been pushed inwards towards the center of the map. There's less distance now between the bases and all of these different points. That means that this central choke point area, you can see perhaps if we go into free cam mode briefly, just in front of the bases is where all the payloads will kind of converge. It's very, very difficult to push through, and you have to have these amazing 5-man wipes in order to do so, but it looks like Zenith Black are actually on the offensive again as Graham goes up into the air, nets a kill into Trillion, and the Ghost Walk is able to keep KanSenpai safe for just a second, but Outer Ghost Walk is going to be taken down for a double kill by Graham. This one's going for overtime as they are close enough to tick it, but the respawns are coming back in favor of Icy Black. They might be able to hold this. They're definitely down on numbers, but as the respawns come through, it's looking like Zenith Black are going to be forced to retreat unless they have a good ultimate combination coming out.
Oh, man, this is really close. KanSenpai trying to hold his best against wizdude, who is still alive, firing on it and taking down Cammy as well. KanSenpai, Chisus, and now Impacalpyse are the only ones left against the looking at like wizdude here. It is just not looking too hot. Wizdude gets taken down by
hold
Chisus.
that thought. That's another. Oh my god, there's another recursive dome. Graham only netting 1 kill out of that. The barricade is good enough.
What?
That's going to be enough to push the payload through. They force everybody away from it, even though there are players on the side of Icy Black next to the payload. They have to run from the accursed arm damage. They're forced away for just long enough for it to be converted, and Zenith Black take an early dominating lead of 4 points over Icy Black's 0.
That was a great play by Graham to just come in, pop the accursed arm. You might say, well, it might not have been useful because you could have that for the next capture point, but he got that kill that just alleviated the pressure enough so they could push that payload the last couple of seconds. Really good job, again, to keep Zenith Black 4-0 up like we saw last game starting off this match. Let's see what Identity Crisis has to say about it as we get into this next capture point.
Next capture point spawning on Canyon, this open field point, and look at that. Look at the ambush that was set up by Zenith Black. They're all diving into one of those stealth grass bushes as the flank comes out from Icy Black. There's a Tempest being popped, KanSenpai picking up a kill, Trillion picking up a kill, this time looking to go a little bit further in favor of Icy Black, and indeed there's a Hexafire coming out from Ruckus, but wizdude completely shut down, but nobody's on the capture point as they start to retreat now. Icy Black going to take a bit of an earlier capture point lead, but we've seen the comeback come through many times before. It's up to Icy to look to zone, and how best are they going to do that on this map here?
Well, what they're doing is they're sending Chisus and Androxus to go ahead and start zoning. And now Pip has to go as well. He wanted to stay onto the point, provide a little bit of healing, provide some splash damage for those walking through the corridors. Really easy to hit that. He actually needs to go because he gets taken down. His teammates are going down. Chisus gets taken down very early. And now the aggression coming back is looking very, very strong here. And trying to stop this point from being captured, it is now going a little bit in the way of Identity Crisis, I believe. Oh, no, that is Zenith Black that's still about to capture this point if they're able to go ahead and do it, but Identity Crisis is able to pick themselves up here essentially and make sure that they have a chance of getting back into this game. A nice chicken, Evil Mojo, however, coming out from Trillion, but SnakeySnake takes down Chisus. Oh my goodness, what is going to happen here?
Graham goes into the air, nets 1 kill for themselves, looking for Cammy on the other side from Androxus. 6-shooter duel. wizdude picks up another kill on the side of Zenith Black, and they're going to capture this one despite a 96 capture point lead. And that is so devastating for Icy Black as they were so close to actually netting their first capture point and their first points at all of this game. And SnakeySnake with a double kill in the end, that opens up a path for the payload to be pushed all the way through to this primary gate choke point area, this area out the front of either side of the base. And it's going to be difficult for them to push through once again. It's going to be up to the players to be able to make use of their ultimates. But if you take a look at the scoreboard, Graham has that accursed arm available. SnakeySnakes almost has Winter Storm, that Ice Storm available as well. Reviling halfway through to charging up that Evil Mojo. And a good combination between all those would be great. Hold that thought. Graham goes up into the air, pops a accursed arm, gets no kills out of it. A little bit wasted there. The Ice Storm comes through and nothing really gained apart from the payload being pushed very slightly further forwards.
Yeah, not the best accursed arm, but it was a spacer. Did allow his teammates to get a little free time, some breather room. And so that's kind of what you need. That's really all you need. You're getting this payload a little closer. You have a chance to make it 8-0. Very convincing second game, that would be. But Impacalpyse and Squad looking to be stopping this very effectively. Getting a double kill, actually. It must have been his turret that was actually finishing off some of those people. Turret OP, man. You gotta nerf that thing. That thing is just doing way too much damage. Now he's got a big one, too. He's got a mega turret. Oh, man, this barracks is definitely going to be hard. Double time. We're seeing that coming back a little bit more. Vox, what do you think?
I love
Bunker still picked up,
personally.
but...
Yeah, I love double time personally. I play a lot of solo pub barrack, and when you can run a double time build and kind of just distract the enemy team so much, then you don't have to rely on your barricade as much. But we still do see barricade picked up as the primary barrack specialty card by most players. I think the reason we're seeing double time here is that KanSenpai actually going for a very defensive totemic ward build instead, and that really allows Barrack to go for this double turret build, go for the defensive lockdown, and open up the area for, oh, we've got another shielder champion on our team, and we can use both of these in conjunction to be just as effective as old Barrack was as well. And I kind of like how that's gone, that there is a mega turret popped by one of the barracks in this team. Not sure if it actually managed to go off there before the kills came through. Mike Man wiped out, taking that mega turret out of existence, but SnakeySnake picks up a double kill, looking to push this one through. Is eventually going to be taken out. No, does manage to escape for now. Good grief. SnakeySnake the Eevee plays.
Yeah, Cammy got a double kill as well in there, and it's looking really strong. Looks like Zenith Black is going to be able to, well, I don't know. It's very competitive right now. We've got a huge engagement going on, and it's about to go into overtime. Mike Man gets the kill onto Trillian. wizdude picks up Chisus as well. It is going into overtime. Mike Man pushing this along as well as Chisus. It's gonna be a close one here. Only Cammy is left. Impacalpyse comes down, puts down the barricade, trying to figure out a way to stop this payload by all means, any and all means as well. And it looks like Chisus is back, looking to make himself known. And however, Eevee is back as well with her ultimate, popping it there, crippling, doing some damage in the center of that. The payload is still in overtime. This could go either way. It really determines who's going to be playing well. Arctic Freeze, actually, the blink coming out from Eevee, but then going dead is her by Cammy, taking her out. SnakeySnake going back to the grave. Graham getting a kill onto Cammy, and now it just looks like there's only one here, and it is just an unending battle right now, Vox. Everybody is just respawning, yeah.
And that's the thing that comes from making these maps that much more compact. With the respawn points being so close for the defending team to where the payload conversion point is, that they're able to get cycled out and come back in one by one to make sure that that payload is constantly contested. But also look how close this canyon point is now to the payload as well. The respawns from the offensive team are actually coming back so fast, and with a champion like Eevee on your team, with that such fantastic range of movement, they're able to blink and then soar forward. They are able to take it into overtime, but not for quite long enough. Forced out, very low on health is that Eevee, and the first defense of this game, the first point on the board, will go to Icy Black. So let's take a look at the burn cards as we get into our third capture point of the game and think about what Icy need to do to change things up a little bit and maybe take some capture points back.
Yeah, Icy's not winning this first point, but they've got a bit of a strategy here. They're picking up the Nimbles again. All 4 members on the team grabbing Nimbles except Impacalpyse. He's going with the Blast Shield, he's going with the Master Riding, and he's going, looks with the Gather. Is that a Gather we're seeing on Impacalpyse and Chisus as well? So they're going to be getting
absolutely as a Gather right there. No, that's a Cauterize if I'm not mistaken. That,
is it? Oh yeah, that is a Cauterize.
That's
right.
a Cauterize. You can see that Life Rip has been picked up by Cammy as well as wizdude, but that is absolutely Cauterize. So reducing healing by 100%. Hold that thought is on the point. KanSenpai pops the Tempest, gets a double kill off the back of that. Immediately looking to gain catch point control as Chisus picks up a third. There's a Hexafire as well. Chisus with another double kill. It's a double kill fiesta right now on this midpoint. And Icy Black taking initial control of this capture point, looking to really come back into this game. They're not going to let Zen get a single point more if they have it their way. And they're going out to zone right now. Let's see how it fares closer to the base of Zenith Black.
Yeah, we barely saw Identity Crisis defend last game because we saw them, go ahead and win these capture points so efficiently. And now they go ahead and take their first capture point of the game after a successful defense. So we'll see how well they are in terms of pushing the payload, because that's what we saw them have trouble with, and Zenith Black kind of excel. It was just a matter of points that allowed, 2 points for capturing the point and only 1 for defending that allowed Identity Crisis to take that game. So we'll see how it works here. The initial fight going on, looking like there's a little bit of a skirmish happening. Cammy taking down wizdude, making sure he goes back, is going to be on that respawn timer as well. Trillian getting taken down by Reviling, a little pip on pip crime. Reviling coming out on the top side of that as well. And it looks like this payload is being pushed and escorted a bit by Chisus and Impacalpyse on the side of Identity Crisis.
So what I'm surprised to see here is that the payload's actually making it very, very far into this base without being stalled out. There's actually nobody standing directly in front of it and contesting it, which is very shocking.
Right. Well, we know in CB26, right, the changes also did affect so that if you do come in, you could stand a little farther away. because
Exactly.
the radius of the payload has been widened, correct? So I think that's encouraging a little bit more of fighting, a little bit less of I have to literally stand at this payload to make anything happen, whether I'm defending or offensive. And I think it's freeing up the game a little bit more. So
Right.
they might have been prioritizing a little bit of distance. Let's stay alive. We don't have to hug this payload the same way. But still, they did make it very close. Might have been a little bit of a misplay there by Team Zenith Black if they wanted a strong defense. But looks like they're holding here.
Well, it's interesting is whilst the payload it does have this wider radius. Not just that, it is a three-dimensional capture area. You no longer have to be standing on the ground. You can actually be hovering over the payload if you happen to be Androxus or Drogos in midair and still click it into overtime if necessary, or still push it along. And even stall it out if you're on the defending team. But you do have to be consistently and constantly standing by it in order for it to be pushed anywhere. It no longer pushes itself to completion. So these players do actually have to stand there and escort it all the way. Now, if we look at the points real quick, we can see that it is 3-6 in favor of Zenith Black right now. Zenith Black likely to make this defense just based on the payload's positioning. And if they do, it'll be 3 points to 7. But the most important thing about this is that IC, if they don't drop another capture point, can actually still win despite being at such a point deficit. So Zenith need a capture point.
Yeah, they need it, and that is the key. That's where we saw them struggle. They're doing well so far, but they did just drop this last one. It's looking like there's only 4 seconds, and the payload is being pushed. They've got 3 members, Impacalpyse, Chisus, and KanSenpai going ahead, and the overtime has initiated. Chisus coming around the backside. KanSenpai actually popping the Grok totem to give his team some protective shielding as well. Now the barricade shield coming out in a staggered form to make sure they have maximum shield time up so that they're not just using those shields at the same time, both going down on cooldown. It looks like the kills are coming now. Jesus goes down, but they're going to have time to stagger and come back. And Drox is trying to get back into this fight, but overtime is almost over. Oh, and it started again with Impacalpyse. He's the only one alive, and it's going to give time for Androxus and now Grok, who is going to be coming in from behind him. Pip is a little bit far away, but if they can get him back in the fight with the other 3 members alive, they could have a chance to push this.
Oh, the respawns are far too staggered, though. I don't think this is going to go in favor of Identity Crisis, but what's important here is if we can take a look at the scoreboard, we've got ultimates almost fully charged across the board right now. 5 ultimates ready for Identity Crisis. We can see that there are 5 ultimates ready on the side of... Oh, no! There are 5 ultimates ready on the side of Zenith Black, but Jesus right at the end there pops the Hexafire. That might have just thrown the entire game for them, as with a successful defense, Zenith Black leading by 7 points, only need this next capture point to win. This is match point for them.
Yeah, now here's okay, so they really need this, and now basically what we've said about Zenith Black Identity Crisis needing to win every capture point and then they'll still win. That's null and void, right? Because now they can defend twice and they will still get it. So now pretty much they've got to play pretty much aces throughout these next 2 rounds in order to be able to get themselves a point. The point is spawning onto the right-hand side, Sunken City, and we'll see how these 2 teams approach it in just a moment. Anything you want to see specifically, Vox, as this potentially last engagement goes down?
Good positioning, good ultimate coordination, but as I've just said, it's all hold that thought. Graham goes up into the air once again, pops down the accursed arm, doesn't actually net a kill out of it, does net 1 kill. wizdude with a double kill down. This is going to Zenith Black initially. Kamias is back with 1, but for how long can they hold out as the players are retreating left and right? That is a full wipe on the side of Icy Black as Zenith Black take dominant point control, showing that this is their map to be taken, and they want to make this go to a full best of 3-game set and go to Enchanted Forest on the next game. And I think they'll do just that. We've seen Icy Black be the comeback kings before, coming back in at the very last moment to defend on this point. There's no way in. The points are rising. It's 70. It's going to come to 80 in just a second. We do see Eevee looking around just to zone. There's somebody on the point contesting it for just a second, but wiped out. There's no easy way back in.
Yeah, Jesus got eliminated there. Tried to flank, but Graham... Actually, Cammy on the top side, as well as Barrack and Impacalpyse on the point with that turret, just took him down way too fast. This is looking like all... What?
We've just seen the comeback. Just as I was saying, I don't see the way back in. They come in with the ult coordination. The Tempest was popped there in combination just with a Grok's Dome Shield to make sure that you can't be targeted whilst you're in that Tempest. And that was enough to actually tip this capture point back in favor of Identity Crisis. It's neck and neck right now. The damage is coming out. There is a Mega Turret popped. And Identity Crisis do actually take the capture point, which they needed to keep them still in this game and keep themselves with a chance at making this closing this out in just 2 games. Good grief, what a play.
I mean, listen, we've seen it. We've seen it, Vox. I don't know why you're so surprised. I mean, we saw them basically come back after these resets and really well. I mean, probably better than their initial point fights, right? I mean, the time they're able to kind of gather up and go at these kind of awkward angles when the team Zenith Black is trying to basically forward attack them and basically bring this fight to a different area than the point. Identity Crisis able to group up in the right spots, flank the point, get themselves in a good vantage point, and then ultimately turn the capture point pressure around and secure these points, even if Zenith Black is almost able to capture, which we just saw there. So far, just going right into what their game plan and plan of attack has been so far. Really good job by Identity Crisis, but they need to push this payload if they want a chance.
I like your choice of phrasing there. Ultimately is definitely how it's been happening for Identity Crisis so far, as it has been that Tempest, which has really been the turning point on all these capture points for me.
Yeah.
We see KanSenpai go in, backed up by his team. Maybe there's a Mega Turret, maybe there's a Hexafire, maybe there's an Evil Mojo as well. An Evil Mojo and Tempest is really your golden combination. Polymorph for 4 seconds without the card Resilience, which we only see picked up on Reviling. These players are unable to escape all of that Tempest damage, ticking on 2 players each second for 350 damage. There is an Accursed Arm from Graham above, just stalling out this payload for a little while longer. With 50 seconds left on the clock, there's plenty of time for IC to come back and push this through, but they do need at least one successful payload conversion within the next 2 points to win.
Yep, they've got to do it. And you know what? It could come down to the last round. So far, they have not had the same coordination they've had on these re-aggressions onto the capture points. I'd love to see them come together and really have a strategy. Do something different. Right now, it is not working what they've been doing. Chisus and Trillian coming in on the left-hand side, kind of mixing it up, as well as Barrack and Impacalpyse setting up his barricade on this left flank, forcing the attention and the defending barricade to be forced against that. So interesting. Showing a little bit of a different strategy there. I don't know if it's working right now. It looks like they haven't been able to push the payload any farther, but they have bought themselves some time. And now it looks like, however, Mike Man's barricade is back up, and it's just not going too well for Team Zenith Black. I mean, Identity Crisis.
So here's my issue, right? You got Reviling on this pip sitting at the very top of the base in this Temple Ruins map, just raining down hellfire with all of these explosive flasks and potion launcher shots, and nobody's dealing with him, and he's just able to barrage, and with that splash damage, as soon as Identity Crisis group up in the payload to push, he's able just to fire shot after shot after shot down on top of them, and as a result, they all sort of crumble to that. I'd love to see Androxus go behind for a flank. We know that Cammy is great, not just with a Cursed Arm, but with these just with the basic weapon attacks. And going up round the backside, looking for a flank, taking out that pip would really open up push potential from the side of Identity Crisis. So that's my hope going into it, because we've got to assume, right, Identity Crisis, they've taken the, 3 capture points in a row at this point. They're going to go for the 4th. If they have the ultimate coordination, I definitely believe they can do it. And the ultimates are being popped. There's a mega turret on the side of Identity Crisis, but what's coming next?
Yep, let's see, because it looks like this capture point is yet to even be touched. Both teams just trying to figure out this brawl, get a man advantage, as we've seen so often. Just get that first kill, and now we've got a 4v5 on the point. We're going to have the pressure. We're going to be able to send somebody out to go, handle them in the back line. So that's what they're looking for here, and wizdude does take out KanSenpai, giving Team Zenith Black their first advantage in this engagement. Now wizdude and Mike Man go ahead and capitalize on that, taking out Chisus, but Cammy returns with the fire onto SnakeySnake, and Graham and Reviling get actually Trillian and Cammy to pay for that mistake. And so now it looks like, again, Team Zenith Black doing a very good job of holding this point and trying to basically make sure that they can finally finish this game and tie it up 1-1 in this series. But Identity Crisis, if we know them, they're coming back with a vengeance.
But every single time they've come back before, it's been on the back of an ultimate like Tempest, and all those ultimates are currently down. And whilst the capture point is being contested and the push is huge from Identity Crisis, I don't know without these ultimates if they can actually survive. I don't think they can, as the ultimates are coming this time from Zenith Black. The damage is there as well, and that's a full wipe. Nope, only Cammy left that Androxus on the side of IC Black, and Zenith Black will take a game 2 on Temple Ruins, making this one go all the way to a best of 3 set, and that was very, very close there, all the way through.
Yeah, I loved it because, we saw these teams have an identity, and not to, play on the, team name Identity Crisis, but we saw them have an identity in terms of their styles and what they excelled at. And we saw Zenith Black completely adjust that from game 1 into game 2 and say, you know what, yes, we've lost all of our capture points. We hear you, but we're not going to get mad at that. We're not going to tilt at that. We're not going to rely on being a good defensive team. we're going to adjust our strategy. We're going to play better. We're going to play more coordinated. We're going to get Reviling in the right spots, and we're basically going to go ahead and dominate these point captures as well to take a convincing lead in game 2. The other thing I wanted to mention, we didn't talk about it, Vox, Reviling, his damage, insane, but also looking at the fact that he had a 23 kill streak at one point. He had a 23, we didn't even mention it. He had a 23 kill streak.
I'm guessing that's towards the end of the game when he's able to go for several defenses in a row and just kind of sit up the top and rain down some damage onto all those enemies. As Pip is very good at staying up and alive there. But look at Cammy right now. If we're looking at Icy Black real quick, we see a lot of kills coming out on Cammy. A few come out on KanSenpai. But look at all the deaths coming out on all of them. They play very, very riskily. They go in. They often lose these initial point fights. They get wiped out. And Cammy, the only one with a positive KDR right there, able to stay alive. Wow. And I don't think that Cammy alone is going to be enough to carry the team throughout all the damage coming out from, I mean, look at wizdude on the side of Zenith Black, 33 and 16. That is absolutely phenomenal. You've got to do something about that ruckus. Maybe it's the wrecker pickups with Zenith Black, which Zenith Black have been using to their advantage, that need to start coming out on the side of Icy Black, but something's got to change there, and you absolutely have to take down that high damage hyper carry target.
Yeah, I mean 8 solo kills as well on a wizdude. That's impressive. He's doing what an Androxus is doing on the enemy team, and outperforming even his own Androxus, which is pretty impressive. And it looks like that Graham pentakill we thought is actually only a quadra kill. Vox, look at that.
Only 4 kills actually coming out there.
Yeah, yeah, almost though. Almost hit the Twitch fame right there.
No heptakill like yesterday. Did you see that in Europe, by the way, by any chance?
Heptakill? What?
We saw a heptakill. We saw a pit heptakill. I am deadly serious. I expected it to only be a hexakill, and it was hype when it came through. We heard the pentakill announcement. I saw an extra kill come through, then another one afterwards, and we saw the scoreboard at the end. It was actually red 7. So some incredible play coming out yesterday as well as today. But that will be it from us for now. We'll be getting ready to be going into the 3rd game of this best of 3 set between Icy Black and Zenith Black. Next up, coming at you is Enchanted Forest, and we'll see you then.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, champions of the realm. My name is Rainday, and today we're taking you through Game 3 of the 2nd round of the NA qualifiers, getting ready to go to DreamHack. Whoever wins this tournament today, they're going to have a chance to play in next week and potentially progress. On the left-hand side, we're going to have Zenith Black, represented by Mike Man onto Barrack, wizdude onto Ruckus, Graham onto Androxus, Reviling onto the Pip, and SnakeySnake onto the Eevee, whereas KanSenpai and Team Identity Crisis will be on Grok, Cammy on Androxus, Chisus onto the Ruckus, Impacalpyse onto Barrack, and Trillion onto the Pip. And of course, co-commentating with me as always, my man Vox.
Howdy, and we can see once again SnakeySnake's doing it again, baiting out 4 resilience burn card pickups on the side of Icy Black, and then swapping over to that impact build, that standstill build, where direct hits will deal 24% additional damage, having quite the direct impact, shall we say. But first blood goes to Impacalpyse. That gives an early lead to Icy Black. Let's see how they take advantage of this as Graham answers back with a kill of their own onto Cammy, the Androxus carrier on the side of Icy Black.
Yeah, Zenith Black doing a good job just getting themselves onto the point, keeping themselves protected behind that barricade kill shield, but Reviling able to go ahead and take down KanSenpai and Impacalpyse for the double kill. Very strong play coming out from Zenith Black initially on this capture point, and now they're going to look to go ahead and zone the incoming members of Identity Crisis, but that zone, man, it may not come in time. I mean, there's 76 points already captured, make that 83, and it looks like they're just kind of hoping right now, and Androxus Cammy gets deleted from the game, and oh my goodness, Pip and Grok just coming in at a moment's late notice, and it looks like they could be going down as well. Trillion actually takes the fall. SnakeySnake gets Trillion though, and this game is very close, although the advantage, I would say, still in the favor of Team Zenith Black, and they do get the final kill and take this objective. Really nice play from them, like we've seen in all 3 games, winning the very first capture point of the match. Vox, what do you say about that?
So I'm getting a strange sense of deja vu, and whilst Icy Black have got the comeback potential of really crowning themselves as the comeback kings of this tournament, it's not working out for the first point. But that's okay. With all these games, you've got to remember that first point can be used to kind of figure out your opponent's playstyle on this map, and then you can adjust to it in the subsequent points. But in all of the previous games, we've seen Zenith Black really push forwards with this first payload push and actually go for the conversion, actually seeing that Trillion pops the chicken, doesn't really get anything out of it, forced to Ghost Walk, or rather forced to Weightless Away away, and the kills are coming back in favor of Zenith Black, answered back by a couple of members of Icy Black, but the payload is starting to make some progress again, going to be pushed up right to the base in just a moment. There's death awaits yours. The cry from Androxus, the Cursed Arm comes down, immune by SnakeySnake in that ice block. Fantastic reaction time there, and now forced away, the payload pushing ever so slightly further forwards. Zenith Black on the warpath.
Oh, yeah, on that warpath indeed, trying to battle themselves towards the end destination. But so far, no Doritos. I don't know if that's a saying, but I'm making it up right now. So far, no Doritos. They're still not being able to push out that payload any farther. Getting it closer to the base is not an option right now, as Grok and Mike Man, as well as Androxus, kind of looking to hide in the bushes and prepare a little bit of a counter defense. But now the payload push is coming, and wizdude gets a kill onto Impacalpyse. And now, oh my gosh, wizdude gets taken out by KanSenpai. So there's a lot of kills going back and forth. The payload still kind of staying stagnant, and both teams are trying to find an advantage here, where it's a very close, tight battle, now leading the way of Zenith Black as they're getting closer to this last choke point here.
And so Mike Man gained a little bit of an advantage there, forcing out the pip from the top, the high ground, unable to poke their head over the edge, as we did see a Mega Turret ultimate come back. And of course, since those missiles do lock on from a distance and home into their targets, it deals dealing 300 to 400 damage per hit. That is something you definitely want to stay out of the line of sight of. Hold that thought, though, as actually, no, there has been a Hexafire popped from the side of Chisus, only picking up 1 kill from it, but opening up the game a little bit for Zenith Black to be pushed backwards, and Icy Black to keep on holding, as the payload is very, very close to conversion. The Zenith Black are looking as strong as ever.
Yeah, and you know what actually was it seemed like a right move, but it really hurt them right there. It allowed Graham to get taken out up top, but the pip Reviling actually goes down. And actually, no, however, no, Reviling just goes down now. It was actually the enemy pip, Trillian, who jumped up to try and get Graham. Did kill him, but actually let the payload push very close to the edge. But now it actually does not connect. It almost allowed Zenith Black to go ahead and get a 4-point sweep on the first central segment of this game. But it looks like Icy is going to be able to defend and get themselves back into this game with 200 extra credits in their pocket, ready to go ahead and contest this next point.
So let's take a look at burn cards once again. You can see that there are 4 resilience pickups on the side of Icy Black, despite SnakeySnake's baiting with this stand still card. So they know that there's not a freeze EV on the side of SnakeySnakes right now. They're taking these cards anyway, in fact, on all 5 members of their team, just to avoid the potential of SnakeySnakes swapping over, taking advantage of that crowd control, because we've seen how effective it can be in previous games. The capture point has spawned on Fishing Village on the left-hand side of your minimap, and let's take a look in with the action as the point fight breaks out, rather not on the point, around the right-hand side of it, up on those balconies.
Yeah, we're seeing that now, especially with these other maps that have a lot more corridors. There's a lot more flanking potential. It's not just Glacier Keep, where you kind of know exactly where everyone's coming from. This is that map that allows a lot more sneaky behaviors, and so people can go up, they can go down, they can come around from the side, and we're seeing that happen right now, and it's looking very effective for both teams, actually. However, on the side of Team Zenith Black, they are proving to be getting the better of Team Identity Crisis, who is almost fully white, and Team Zenith Black looking great right now in this second capture point contest.
The respawn's going to start to come back on through, but they're a little bit late. Once again, I actually don't expect the respawns to be in time, as Zen did take a little bit of early capture point control and they were leading a little bit. I don't expect those respawns to get anywhere near the point before it just happens to be taken through just members spending time on the point. We did see Cammy rain down that accursed arm from above, quickly shielded out and ice blocked out by members of Zen on the point, and they will get the second payload of this game. The points lead 4-1 currently in their favor, and they're looking ever so strong right now.
Yeah, they really are. And you know what? Identity Crisis, I mean, I don't know if it's the fact that Resilience had to get picked up by every one of them. I mean, allowing them all, to not really have the most effective card in terms of these team fights. They're really just targeting one player, which is SnakeySnake on the side of Team Zenith Black. And guess what, Fox? He's on a 15 streak. So much for those cards. So much for the Resilience. It doesn't really matter because he's still getting the job done. And now that's one card on every member of Team Identity Crisis that is not being utilized very effectively. It's pretty much a 2 to 3, essentially, in terms of cards, and that may be the advantage here Zenith Black is having in this round.
It really is the advantage. If you take a look at the scoreboard momentarily, you can see that there are a few defensive cards picked up. We can see Blast Shields and Haven, besides the one Resilience on Reviling there, picked up on the side of... we do appear to be going into stasis mode, so this provides the perfect opportunity to take a longer look at the scoreboard. So, with the burn cards on the side of Zenith Black, you can see Mike Man running Haven and Graham running Haven, reducing all damage under 350 by 20%, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it 15, Rain? Any update on that? Can you elaborate?
Well,
You know what? To be honest, I'm not in stasis mode, so I'm still seeing the engagements happening here. So I missed your question because there is still
No
a fight
problem.
engaging here on the payload, which is being stalled, by the way, by Team IC, doing a very good job of just keeping themselves at bay. But now the stasis looks like does come out, and so remind me, what would you just ask, Vox? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention because of the adjustments to the stasis mode and the mention of that. What were we talking about here?
Just a little question regarding the burn card Haven. So we've got the burn cards Blast Shields and Haven and Resilience present on the side of Zenith Black. Now we've talked a lot about the particular burn card Resilience. Take me through Haven and Blast Shields and what did they do particularly?
Okay, so Blast Shields is going to eliminate the attacks that come from players that is above 350 damage. That is going to mitigate that damage. So the higher hitting characters like Eevee, even Barrack falls on that, although he's one of the lower higher end, and Pip and Androxus, they are going to have less damage done to the players who pick up Blast Shields. Whereas if you have Haven, that means you're having a little bit of an issue with the damage coming out from Chisus, the Ruckus, or Grok, KanSenpai, because that means they are shooting underneath 150 damage per attack, and that's what they do. They just shoot very consistently, but very low. So it's looking to really target one of two types of kind of damage that's going on to you, as this push is almost looking to be completed by Team Zenith Black. And there it is, a 6-1 advantage going ahead to them. Wow, looking really strong right now is Zenith Black.
Zenith Black taking a commanding lead on all of these capture points, unable to come back. Team IC, and what we've called them the comeback kings before, but they're yet to take a single capture point. And this next capture point could actually end it for Zen. They need a capture point and the conversion, or a capture point and a successful defense. And with the potential opportunities for them to get a lot of defenses coming through, if they do decide to actually give up a point to IC, maybe defensively, then that room is certainly there.
Yeah, so let's talk about kind of strategies you want to see. What do you like to see now heading out into this last point? In terms of both of these teams, what is Zenith Black doing? Well, what does IC need to do now that they were doing in games 1 really effectively and aren't doing currently?
Well, what they were doing is we saw it was all about the ultimate coordination, but it was very, very specific. Now, what I love which IC were doing initially is we saw them lose capture point control first very, very consistently. So they'd get on the capture point, they'd bait out the ultimates from Zenith Black, and that's the key area there. They'd actually bait out those ultimates, and then as soon as as they came back with the respawns, you maybe had 40 to 60 points captured on the point for Zenith Black, but all of the ultimates on the side of IC were up, and ultimates versus no ultimates with a little bit of a capture point lead was enough to push Zen off the point, get those kills, and with their early capture point lead, really look to take that capture point before the respawns came back through.
And again, now we're looking at, an opportunity for the teams to adjust their picks in terms of, this next round and picking up these new cards, right? So do you expect to see the resiliences picked up on the side of Team Identity Crisis as much as they were before? Or do you expect some members to be picking up some different cards, electing to say, you know what, that really didn't stop SnakeySnake, who's on a 19 streak right now? I mean, should we just go for something different?
I mean, you've got to go for blast shields, right, if you're going to change it to anything, because of all that burst damage coming out of SnakeySnake. So you got the burst damage coming out from the Pip as well, and you got the burst damage coming out from Androxus. You got to remember, of course, that Mike Man does indeed get countered by on that barrack. Those rifle shots get countered by blast shields, but wizdude, who we saw last game going on an incredible tear, maybe Haven just for that one character will be necessary, but I'd say the burst damage is having a bit of the advantage this game with, as you said, SnakeySnakes on that 15 kill streak. Now, the advantage of blast shield, of course, being that even if you get frozen, you're still going to be mitigating that damage, but I don't know, is the freeze something that you want to deal with? Is this resilience pick really worth it? I mean, it's not been working out so far, but could they be in a worse situation without it? And that's really the question that I'm curious about.
Yeah, same here. And you know what? We're seeing a little bit of a change and a positive change here for Team Identity Crisis, who pick up the 2 points needed after really nice engagement and now have the opportunity to push the payload into Team Zenith Black's base and hopefully get, close to tied up in this game, make it potentially 5-6. We're seeing Identity Crisis not fall down like they did the last couple of times they had lost the initial payload and really just decide to say, we are going to adjust our tactics. We are not picking up resilience anymore. We're picking up the blast shields like our senpai Vox told us to, and we're basically going to go ahead and fight the real fight. We're not going to try and just eliminate what she does as a character. We're going to fight her, and we're just going to reduce some of that damage, and it looks like it's working out in their favor as SnakeySnake did get taken down. He's only on a 1 streak now, very different than a 19 streak. And Vox, I mean, if SnakeySnake is in this 19 streak area and now only at a 2 streak, what does she need to do now that that counter is kind of, they're countering a little bit of her damage? How does she play? Does it change her tactics now that they're not, kind of, I think being baited to pick up that other card, and now they're all pretty much mitigating a lot of her damage?
Well, really, it's less about sort of going for a counter here. It's more about just maintaining, because they're doing such a good job right now with the distraction. And let's talk about a little bit about EV plays as well. We know that there's a wormhole in the in that EV build. So what we're seeing is a lot of direct hits come out. We're seeing a lot of direct damage coming out, but we're seeing these wormhole baits, and that's really the keystone of this EV play that I want to see continue. Having an EV blink in, drop some damage. When they're turned on, they blink back. Or if they soar in or just walk in via their mount, they can potentially blink away, bait people into following or using movement abilities. And that puts their team at an advantage, the side of SnakeySnake, and then blink back to their original position, ice block if necessary, and soar away to safety. So just maintaining that kind of play is what I really want to see coming through from SnakeySnakes. Maybe a slight change up on the side of Zenith Black to make it a little bit more advantageous would be better zoning, because we can still see that Icy are making it back to the point, but by the time they do so, they don't have the ultimate charge. They've already used all of those, and as a result, they get taken out quite easily.
Right, and now what I see her doing, and to be honest, is they're contesting as much as they can, but they're not using their ultimates. They're really just going in for a safe attempt at pushing, and the overtime is ticking down. They may not have any chances here. I don't know if I agree with Trillian just running in and getting taken out immediately there and giving them a free kill and some extra credits, but I do agree with them holding on to their ultimates, which 4 members on their team have done, and so you now will have 4 ultimates on the side of Team Identity Crisis, but you also have 4 ultimates on the side of Team Zenith Black. So this is going to be interesting. The only members without their ultimates are going to be the Grok, who's actually at 96, and the Barrack, who's at 88. So now it could literally be just a 5 ultimate fight fest coming down in this next point, which could be the last if Team Zenith Black goes ahead and wins. Very exciting stuff.
I'm getting real CB24 vibes, which is when we saw those ultimates all stockpiled for the next capture point fight, never used on the payload push, and just sort of all fired in all at once, which was nice to a degree, but there was a lot of RNG in that. You popped down the dome shield and the flamethrower turret whilst it was still in the game, and it would prioritize the closest target, and you had the whole Tempest issue with Tempest doing a lot of damage but hitting players randomly, and it was up to a coin flip at times as to which player that took. Now with Tempest still available, of course, there is that RNG chance, but what we're seeing, and what I really love the Grok on the side of IC doing, is that when they go in with Tempest, they're not going into a team or a group of 5, they're going after just 2 or 3 people, guaranteeing that they'll be hit repeatedly by all of those Tempest strikes, and actually just prioritizing those couple of really, really high priority targets, and it's been working out so far. And now let's see how it plays out on this capture point.
And it looks like it played out all the while in the favor of Identity Crisis and team actually. Oh, and there's the SnakeySnake's ultimate. I was going to say, Team Zenith Black didn't even use Eevee's ultimate or Pip's ultimate or Barrack's ultimate, in fact, and really did not have much of a chance contesting at that point. It's really, really nice to see, actually. I saw wizdude use his ultimate very prematurely, in my opinion. He went out with the Hexafire on the side, tried to kill a turret, but they were able to hide easily behind cover. Wasn't really aware of his positioning, not the best. And it ended up giving Chisus an opportunity to go ahead and just use his Hexafire once Reviling and squad had actually gone onto the point, trying to make their stance and basically just eliminate them and push them out with some really good positioning. There's nothing they can do about it with a full Hexafire, and they're just standing on the point. There's no cover to take there. So really nice baiting of the ultimate from wizdude, and then following up at the perfect time with Chisus's ultimate. Really like to see that play. I think that's what happens when you have 2 characters who have the same abilities. It's kind of like who can bait out who first, right?
Exactly. You got to remember that that Hexafire can be blocked by Emitter, but only for a second, as Hexafire deals so much damage. As the name suggests, you do get 6 miniguns all firing at once. But you've got, with an earlier edition, you've got some of these rocket launchers firing along as well, dealing AoE splash damage when they connect at a target at the end of their range. So that also helps out decimate allies or enemies on a point who are all grouped up again together.
Right, and now we've got to see... We have to see this. This is what we have to see. We've got to see Team Zenith Black defend this if they want a chance at winning, because if they don't defend this, what happens is it's 7-7 and Identity Crisis, who we've seen pretty consistently, although it's been back and forth, having a little bit of the advantage on the point capture. If Zenith Black defends, then it doesn't matter what happens next point capture. They can still defend next round and win. So this is a huge point right here. Identity Crisis needs to get themselves back together and really group onto this payload, which is being stopped perfectly. They've got one more chance. It's 28 seconds left, and it looks like they are doing what I said. They are not going in on this payload right yet. They're letting the defenses prepare as they prepare their offense with 20 seconds to go and going in for one last attempt. And, you know, in this attempt, I want to see a couple of things. I want to see Trillion have an impact, and just as I say that, Graham takes him out. I mean, perfect timing. And talk about, I mean, Graham's Androxus play has just been spectacular today. Talk about what Graham has been doing on this Androxus. He's on a 4 streak right now. We've seen the accursed arm. I mean, how is this affecting their team, Fox?
So the Accursed Arm, it provides, when you go up into this ultimate, it gives you a 750 damage shot, which you can fire 4 times. You also are able to fly during its time. So what we're seeing a lot of players do is they go up into the air with a couple of nether step dashes, pop their ultimate, which does have a very loud sound cue, warning enemies that they need to get out of the way or get behind cover as quickly as possible. And they're firing it down because these shots deal area of effect, explosive damage. He's able to decimate a team. We saw a quadra kill come out of that previously in the game on Temple Ruins. And it's plays like that that can either not only can they pick up kills in those environments, you can either deal 3,000 damage and just burst down one player entirely, or a team if they're all exposed. But you cause people to scatter, and it's that lack of coordination that you get when people are just thinking, oh my gosh, I have to save myself or get behind cover, that opens up the opportunity for your team to go ahead and push the payload, or they can flank around from the side and catch these retreating or fleeing players off guard. And that's worked out really, really well for Graham so far.
Absolutely, as he's forced another step out of the point capture and hopefully apply a little bit of pressure and spacing as Reviling gets the double kill onto Chisus and Impacalpyse, sending them back to the base as well. wizdude, Reviling, and themselves turning into chickens. It looks like wizdude taking out Trillion, and the advantage right now is heavily in the favor of Team Zenith Black, who want to win this game right now. They want to move forward. They're done with fighting this capture point and trying to defend for another 2 minutes. They're saying, we've got 56 points. We've got 3 members up. You guys better come at us with something a little stronger than that, baby, or we're heading on into the next round. Now, Chisus comes in saying, hey, I got some guns on my ruckus. And they say, no, no, no. Take that back to the base again. Mike Man gets the kill. SnakeySnake finishes off Impacalpyse. The staggered efforts are just not enough. And Zenith Black goes ahead to the next round to take this game, a 2-1 win, and move on into the third round, looking very good, might I add, after making some critical adjustments against Identity Crisis and taking a convincing third game.
But critical adjustments coming through in terms of the map there, and in terms of playstyle maybe, but we saw the same team comp being run through all 3 of those games, which I find remarkable. We don't often see that between maps, especially yesterday in Europe. We saw major champion changes coming out between teams. So we saw, for example, Fernando being favored on Glacier Keep, and then really dropped off more in Enchanted Forest, coming back a little bit better. We saw a lot of Buck play initially in the tournament, and then actually dropped out as well. So I find it quite remarkable that these teams have really just, or Zenith Black at least, Black have gone for this comeback entirely based on changing this playstyle. And really, if I got to pick an MVP out of Zenith Black for this set, it's going to be either Graham for the use of his Androxus Accursed Arm ultimates, or it's going to be SnakeySnake. And I think that SnakeySnake's baiting out all those resilience picks really helped out Zenith Black through so much of their early game there. That had such a big impact for me.
Yeah, I think SnakeySnake, that huge bait. I mean, he went on a 19 streak when they all bought resiliences. They literally were a burn card down because of him, and he went on a 19 streak. I mean, talk about a plan just not being executed, and just a perfect bait. I mean, here you go. Yeah. I'm gonna do this. Oh, flip it up, and now I am not prepared at all. It's just really marvelous what we've seen SnakeySnake and Team Zenith Black do with that bait. I wonder if that's going to work in the upcoming rounds as teams start to get a little bit more aware of what he might be doing. I would reckon that not a lot of people, not a lot of teams will be full committing onto the resiliences. Maybe some of the squishier characters, but I definitely do not see an entire 5-man group getting resiliences anymore against SnakeySnake after he bit Identity Crisis with some serious venom there and actually put them out of this tournament right now. So great games by Identity Crisis. Very good job by Zenith Black. We're excited to be moving on in the next round, and we'll be back with that next game in the third round as soon as we can. Guys, stay where you are. Stay right in your seats. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rainday. I've been co-commentating with Vox as well, and we'll be excited to bring you the next matches in just a moment.